Elon Musk sold $1 million of perfume a couple weeks ago.
And a woman charged with sending bee swarm on deputies at eviction. Coming up on Unimportant.
Do not change your life. This is the Unimportant Podcast.
Live, kind of. Yours truly and him. Is that a good intro? It's me and you here at the thing doing what we do.
Everyone has already turned this off.
What do you? Your story sounds more funny, and I think I've read a little bit about this. You go for it. You can start us off here with this ridiculousness.
Yeah, woman charged with sending bee swarm on deputies at eviction. That's pretty much the story. A Massachusetts woman who released a swarm of bees on sheriff's deputies as they tried to serve an eviction notice is facing multiple assault and battery charges, authority says.
How? Okay, well, how does she do that in the first place? Like, how is that a possible thing to do? You know what I mean? Like,
let's find out. Rory S. Woods, 55, pleaded not guilty at her arraignment on October 12th and was released without bail. She arrived in an SUV trailer carrying beehives and started shaking them, breaking the cover off one and casting hundreds of bees to swarm out and instantly sting one deputy.
Is this her?
No, not her. That's weird.
Okay. I don't know. Anyways, so they were trying to evict her and she like just let loose a bunch of bees.
Apparently, which is like crazy, but also insane things happen at evictions. Like just wild things.
Well, that, and then you want to talk about like insane and dangerous, like domestic violence calls are like one of the most dangerous things. People don't like think that, but like that's where cops get hurt the most. And I would imagine evictions are right up there with somebody who really, really doesn't. First of all, you have to be the kind of person that would get evicted, which is a whole different, sect of humanity. And then,
interesting way to put that.
Well, and then on top of that, those types of people are now being booted from the place that they live, which is not cool, I would imagine, if you were that person.
Seriously. My dad had a rental property one time. And it was a situation where they bought the house with a tenant in it and evicted them. And it was
for anything, or did they take rent from him or them for like
no, it was like it was a squatter situation. Like it was, or something like that. Like just a hoarder situation. It was a mess. There was like 3 gigantic pit bulls that were like actual wild animals in the house. The house had aluminum siding on it, which is pretty common in the Seattle area. The dogs had eaten and like pulled off most of the aluminum siding from the back of the house. They were literal wild animals. Like you couldn't, just crazy situation.
I mean, you know about this. We had a tenant that was pretty not awesome, and we were really not excited to have to evict him, but he just left. He sucked the entire time and then just left the day he was supposed to, so we didn't have to evict him. And I would imagine that if we did have to evict him, he would have unleashed a swarm of bees in the direction of myself or the police officers.
That's one thing that you're just not anticipating. Like when you go out on your shift as a cop, you're like, I wonder what's going to happen today. And you're probably thinking all kinds of wild stuff. And then you're like, I'm going to get stung by bees 39 times today. Is not what you had in mind, I
feel like stung is the less aggressive term when you could have used attacked. I was attacked by bees today.
I was assaulted by bees.
Well, and the funny thing about like cops too, and there's a lot of people in this line of work where like they go home to a normal, there's, how was your day, honey? And they're like, I was attacked by a swarm of bees by an angry lady who refused to leave her home. Which, just in a day's work, that's like a normal thing that I have to do as a cop.
Seriously. It says she had a beekeeper suit on to protect herself. And 3 of the officers who were there were allergic to bees.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that seems terrible. Oh, here it is.
When she was told several officers were allergic, she said, "Oh, you're allergic? Good."
Yikes.
So this was like premeditated. Like she showed up ready to rock. Like this was a plan ahead of time.
That is wild. I feel like I can't. I don't know why I can't view this. How much? Open the image. Okay, here we go. This looks like her. I think. Let me bring this up on the screen really quick. Here we go. That looks like somebody who just did that thing.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Interesting, huh? Well, you live and you learn. You know who probably wouldn't have this happen to them is one Elon Musk. He's the richest man in the world. Maybe you've heard of him. Did you see yesterday or whenever you're watching this podcast in the future? It won't be yesterday, but yesterday Elon Musk walked into Twitter with a sink.
Wait, hold on. That's my second one. This is hilarious.
I won't talk about it then. Oh, do you want to just do that, or you want to?
Let's talk about this. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Elon Musk carries sink into Twitter headquarters on Wednesday and says, "Entering Twitter HQ." Let that sink in.
I was just talking to another guest on my Joe Bob Unlimited show, and she believes wholeheartedly and probably somewhat accurately that Elon Musk bought Twitter entirely to make dad jokes. And I don't think she's necessarily wrong. Here's the video if you want to watch this. This is just Elon strolling into Twitter with a sink in his hand. Look at the smile on his face. Look at that. That is a man who
is hilarious.
That is a man who spent $40 billion on a joke.
44 to do this. He spent $44 billion to make a dad joke.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly respect him for that because that's hilarious. Let this sink in.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh. Let this sink in. Did you see a couple of the pictures from this? It's actually wild just in terms of like how, I don't want to say, Elon was at Twitter offices today, and there were some pictures taken of him at the coffee bar, and there were some people that looked so excited that he was there, and other people that didn't look excited at all.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, dude.
You kind of wonder how this is going to go, though. Like, I'm so curious to see what happens. Like, in my head, this is kind of a big, like, nothing burger, because you hear big old uproars about, like, companies getting bought or different people in charge all the time. And, like, everybody forgets about it in 2 months. But this kind of feels like one where it might actually get interesting.
I was going to say this story dangers on the edge of being important. And I don't know if you know the name of the show, Unimportant. This seems to be pretty close to touching the line of importance here.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. But
I think
you think 45? Does 45 get back on?
No, that's actually him smartly. I don't know if he ultimately comes back on, but back when this whole Twitter purchase fracas was happening, he himself said, "I'm not going on Twitter. I got my own social media platform. I don't need it." Yeah. Which is, it actually helped the entire situation calm down a little bit. Because I think you're right. I also think too, there's people that are really, really excited that Elon's buying Twitter. And I think those people are going to be a little disappointed. And the people that are like really, really hate it are not going to be like, "Oh, this isn't all that bad." Like in reality, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Oh, you mean the news is making a bigger deal of this than it actually is?
I mean, it is a big deal, but yeah, it's not. I don't know. He himself has said, like, "Hey, just so you know,
mean to tell me the world isn't ending? Is that what you're trying to tell me?"
And it might not be, but we'll see. You never know. He did. Elon has gotten into some pretty interesting conversations over the last couple of days, especially with this whole thing with Ukraine. Like now he's meddling in Eastern European politics, which
I don't know if is tweeting considered meddling though, or is he doing more than that?
If you have 100 million people who are going to read what you say, I don't know about meddling. Meddling sounds like I don't know. He's trying to like subvert things. Like, no, he's just out in the open saying, "This is funny. I'm going to tweet about it."
Yeah, but like you'd have to say the same thing if like LeBron is putting up a Ukraine flag, right? Wouldn't that be meddling? He's got 100. What are you doing?
I'm swatting a fly. There's a fly in here and it's annoying me. And it also could be a mosquito, in which case I definitely don't want it in here. I hate mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah. Side note, my wife and I seem to have a mosquito problem. Like we are getting wrecked by mosquitoes for like the last 2 weeks, and we can't figure out why or how they're getting in. We don't see them. We're just covered in bites, and it makes no sense. I was searching around to see if there's like a swarm or something right now, and I don't know. So you're not experiencing this?
No, I am, and that's I think there's actually and there is a story about this that's not as important, but still is a little bit important. But mosquitoes apparently are taking over in terms of their prominence nowadays with I don't know, a lot of different things.
That is an
come on.
The Democrats.
Right. Wait, no.
It was a mosquito. I don't want mosquitoes around me. I don't like mosquitoes.
You don't agree with the president on anything else. You can agree with him on this.
I don't like mosquitoes.
Former president.
Regardless of what you think of Donald Trump, you probably agree with him on that.
Who likes mosquitoes? I guarantee you, though, there's probably somebody on MSNBC saying, mosquitoes are very important to the environment and the overall health of insect culture. Shut up, idiot.
Mosquitoes are a Russian agent.
So speaking of Elon Musk, I'm I don't know. I'm going to call the producers here and make a claim that your story was borderline important regarding the richest man in the world. And we'll leave it up to the playback refs to decide on whether or not it was a penalty. But this one is definitely not important. Elon Musk sells $1 million worth of new perfume entitled Burnt Hair. Have you seen this?
It's not perfume.
Have you seen this?
I heard of it, yeah.
Has scented a new opportunity to capitalize on quirky products, launching a perfume called Burnt Hair. He said that he sold 10,000 bottles to earn $1 million in just a few hours. You know what? This, if nothing else, being super famous would be awesome for this specific reason. Like, how much did his Not a Flamethrower make? Was it like 10 million bucks?
So I think something like that, because I think it was also 10,000 units, and it was way more than whatever the perfume was. It was $800 or something. So yeah, $8 million.
It was $500 for the Not a Flamethrower, which it actually wasn't a flamethrower. He's an interview about this. I wish I didn't have to dig through hours of Joe Rogan content to find this, but he says something along the lines of like, yeah, I wanted to sell a flamethrower, but the attorney said, you probably can't sell a flamethrower. And I said, well, what if I call it not a flamethrower? That's okay, right? And then he did, because that's apparently how you get around attorneys. But anyways, this guy just tweets about something and sells a bajillion whatever it is. He's done this with hats. Like he's like, oh, there's 10,000 of these hats going out. They cost, there's 100,000 of the hats and they cost $10 and he made $1 million that way. Just because, dude.
What would you sell if you had 100 million Twitter followers and knew that you could instantly at any time sell 10,000 units? What would you sell?
I don't care. What's the highest profit mark? I literally could not care less.
No, but that's not why he's doing this. He's doing this because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. So why he's doing it is because it's free marketing. He's getting paid to market, which is pretty smart. What would you get paid to market?
I don't know. Something ridiculous. I don't know. I haven't really put a lot of thought into this. Maybe I was going to say maybe a cookbook, but I actually am considering putting out a cook PDF of like 5 to 10. So Crystal's been doing this thing where she
I cannot even take you seriously right now, because I actually do think you're a good cook now. I've seen some stuff, but I used to live with you and watched you cook before. I have never seen someone mess up mac and cheese as bad. Like, I don't.
Here's the problem.
The amount of improvement you have done is incredible, but it's still hard to believe.
It wasn't mac and cheese. It was top ramen and cheese sauce that I tried to pass off as some sort of Italian cheese thing. So I don't know.
I think we just threw that pan out.
No, I tried to wash it in the dishwasher. For those of you who aren't familiar with the intricate inside jokes here, one time I was doing dishes in our very, very small apartment with our very, very crappy kitchen. And I said, I'm going to use this soap. And Anthony said, you can't use that soap because it wasn't dish detergent. I don't know the difference. Like, soap is soap to me. Like, dish soap, shampoo, body wash, all the same thing in my book. And so I put the dish soap in the dishwasher, and lo and behold, Anthony comes back to the apartment, and the kitchen is full of bubbles.
No. I came back to the apartment. Before I got to the apartment, I noticed that there was bubbles coming through the open kitchen window.
I disavow this statement. I don't know if I agree and attest to that happening.
There were bubbles running down the outside of the apartment.
Elon Musk sold 10,000 bottles of his it turned $1 million in just a few hours. This is what I think is funny. Like, this is, again, he does stuff because he likes making dad jokes. He said, with a name like mine, getting into the fragrance business was inevitable. Elon Musk. He also said it's the essence of repugnant desire. The website's latest offering says it costs $100 a bottle and is set to start shipping the first quarter of 2023. It's sold out immediately. Dude,
immediate.
I don't know. I would literally do. Yeah,
because it's called burnt hair, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to smell good.
It actually smells like burnt hair.
I don't know. Nobody has one. It doesn't ship until 2023. Honestly, he could have had some interns set up a website. He could have even done it himself. It would have taken him 5 minutes to set up one of those like Kajabi websites or whatever it is that can
just a Shopify
payment. Or even PayPal. Just like, hey, put your name and email in here and send me $100, and I will eventually
$100 will eventually send you some perfume.
Yeah, and he probably has no idea what it smells like either. He just like, you know what it probably was. You know what it probably was. He was probably sitting around with a bunch of friends. Possibly alcohol was involved, and someone said, "Hey, Elon, I think you can make $1 million right now." And he says, "I bet you I can." And then in 15 minutes made $1 million.
You got to just like, if you're the like very successful guy sitting next to him that has never made $1 million in 5 minutes before, you probably got to kind of feel like crap. You're like, I spent my entire life working to make my $10 million and I'm really proud of it. And this piece of crap made $1 million before our like appetizers got here.
His boring company, not boring like falling asleep, boring in class company, but like boring holes, is valued at $5.7 billion, and that company sold this article from Reuters says flamethrowers. It's not a flamethrower. The attorney says for $500 a piece in 2018, raising $10 million. And then for 50,000 Boring Company hats, also raising $10 million.
Insane.
That's just silly, but is what it is. Do you want to hear something that's kind of, well, this is kind of important. This also touches along the lines of important, and I feel like since we're going from Elon Musk, and I don't want to talk about his ties to China, but this is interesting coming out of China. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. So in China, there is now government officials calling and contacting newlyweds to ask them when their baby is arriving. Like the government of China is calling people saying, hey, when's your baby arriving? An online post about a newlywed in China was rung up by her said she was rung up by her local government asking if she was pregnant. Just call, hey, are you pregnant? Now, I guess that doesn't sound all that ridiculous until you think of all of the different components that's involved with that. Not to get into like Chinese domestic policy, but they had this whole one child thing from like the 80s all the way up to like 2015, where they were only allowed to have one kid. And lo and behold, that didn't work out at all. Like, well, I mean, not to dive into this, but like if you have one kid and you're a Chinese family, especially considering tradition and all that sort of stuff, generally speaking, you want to have a man or a male child.
Right.
So which means a lot of, and this is horrible, a lot of female babies were aborted. And lo and behold, there was like 80% men in China.
Yeah.
And like, we have a huge problem here because nobody can reproduce. So they repealed that. And now they're going completely the other direction, saying that, wait, we need you to have kids. Can you guys please have some kids? Like really, we really need that. We screwed up.
We really need kids.
We're how would that make you feel if the government was trying to force you to have a child?
Yeah, that would not be ideal. Do you think there's more gay guys in China than average? Like, do you think some of them just give up and are like, you know what?
Actually,
let's try out wiener instead.
No. Interesting fun fact. There are no gay people in China or Russia or any of the other places.
Actually, it's illegal.
Yeah, I think it's illegal. That's the joke I'm trying to make. There's also no gay people in Iran. You know, who would have thought?
Not one.
I don't know.
Not a single one. I shouldn't be laughing.
No, it's not. It's actually terrible.
Fun fact about creepy when the government is asking you that, right? But have you heard about Target's ability to predict pregnancy?
I have. I read this in a. Was this a Malcolm Gladwell thing that you picked this up out of, like habits? It's whatever.
I think I used to work at Target, and I think I got it there, but potentially I got it from a book.
Not to steal your thunder, Malcolm Gladwell has a book. It's something about habits. And yeah, what you're saying is Target their marketing department was so good at picking out habits of people that they could tell when women were pregnant before the family knew. And it was like Target, was it? Oh, it was this like teenage girl was pregnant living at her parents' house, and Target sent her a maternity booklet of all the things she could purchase because they noticed she was purchasing like cocoa butter or something else, other stuff that pregnant women get. And her dad
certain vitamins and stuff.
Yeah, her dad sued Target.
Yeah.
He's like, no, like my daughter's not pregnant. How dare would you send this to? And then he found out,
whoops,
she is.
Sorry, Target.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's how bad that can get, I guess. I feel like that's exhausted that. What else? What other stuff do you have?
World's dirtiest man dies at 94 after taking his
loss.
After taking his first bath in nearly 60 years.
I'm so sorry that your father has passed.
Okay.
I was going to say father-in-law, and in my head processing which one was going to get me more in trouble.
No, it's actual dirt. It's not dirty, creepy. It's dirty.
Literally dirt.
Dirty, yeah.
Like he just died because he was clean?
Amu Haji died recently at age 94, which feels pretty impressive, just in general.
Hold on. So he didn't take a bath since his 30s?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure his wife was not thrilled.
His name's Amu Haji or Uncle Haji. He lives in Iran. Recently became known as the world's dirtiest man because he had not bathed since he was 30 something.
I don't like this. Whatever
have
this
you seen
is,
photos of him?
like.
Pull up a photo of him. It's
What
crazy looking.
What's
Amu Haji, or just dirtiest man.
Search world's dirtiest man.
There you go.
Oh, world's dirtiest man. Ugh!
Right? Put that on the screen. Pull that up.
Hold on. Ew. What in the what?
It's crazy to look at, huh?
Do we feel bad? Is that like
So
right?
here's
Like,
the thing, though. He died like almost immediately after taking a bath. So like these, so he lives in some little village in Iran, and
okay.
like it lives like literally. He said he splits time between a hole in the ground and a little brick shack that was built by like the people in the town for him. Obviously, like kind of a crazy dude, like probably mentally ill, obviously. But like somebody convinced them to let them like give him a bath, and like literal days later he died.
Well, is there any guesses as to why or how?
I would assume, and maybe it's just a coincidence because he is obviously 94, but like he actually looks pretty good for 94.
Say, does that guy
other
look
than being
94
dirty.
to you? I don't know if I buy that. Like, according to who? He's 94
not.
according to who?
I don't know.
Yeah, that guy looks
I
like...
guess the people that live there, but I mean, he's clearly old. But
Yeah,
the
but
thing, you would kind of think that like having that much dirt on you would kind of like, it's almost like a second skin, or like you got to think it's like a barrier of oh my goodness.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot he chain smoked cigarettes.
I don't
and
believe
has
that
for
he's
many years.
94. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. This guy's in his 70s. Still kind of sad and still weird. But oh my gosh.
Look at his fingernails. Isn't that they're completely
I don't want
black.
to do that. I don't want to do that. You're making me... I disavow of this entire segment.
I think it's fascinating.
Well, good for you. Maybe you can try it.
But like, I'm so curious to know, like, like did the bath actually significantly contribute to his death? And I think it makes sense that it would, because if you have all of that, like if you're living in your own, it's like if you travel internationally, like you're at home and you're totally fine. You go somewhere else and you start drinking the water and doing all this stuff. It's like a lot of people get sick. That's pretty normal. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing. It's like you've built up your own little case of dirt and bacteria and stuff, and then you're introduced to new things probably.
I wonder if he was just against cleaning altogether. Like, here we go. Do you think he wiped after he went number 2? You think that's a thing that he did?
I can't imagine. I feel like that's second or third level hygiene, not level 1. Right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't... can we be done
I think
with
if
this?
if you're covered in physical dirt from head to toe, do you wipe?
I don't really...
I guess... hold on.
I'm upset with myself for asking the question. So you go ahead and answer my dumb hypothetical, but know that you're doing it against my approval.
I can't imagine he did, but I don't know.
Is that more or less gross than a vegan who failed to deal with the mouse infestation and fed them instead, being fined in a court in England?
What?
So some lady is a vegan and is like, I don't know, vegans really, really like animals. I really like animals, but at the same time, they're delicious. So, that limits the love and caringness that I have for animals, especially the ones that I can eat. But this vegan lady, the 73-year-old lady living in St. Osyth in Essex, in the UK, considered the mice that were an infestation in her house her pets. And instead of getting rid of them like the building manager and the local government told her she had to do, she started feeding them. Even though she lives in what I think is a flat or an apartment type thing, where the mice could very easily get into other people's apartments. And so these people are trying to get rid of mice/rats. And this lady, instead of getting rid of them and participating in ridding themselves of vermin, feeding them.
How many mice are we talking about here?
I don't know. I was scrolling through the article. I couldn't really find I'm
assuming it's a lot.
She was told in April that she had to deal with the infestation, and then hasn't at all. Because mice reproduce quickly. I'm scrolling to see if I can see any numbers, but it doesn't look like anybody has any numbers. I would have to say at least 100. right?
Yeah,
Like
I'm
that's got to
picturing in my
be.
head they're like climbing up the walls and they're just all over the place.
Whoa. Did we have this conversation last episode? How many mice do you think it would take to take you out? This is not a joke. This could theoretically happen if you go visit Essex. You could theoretically be attacked by mice. How many mice does it take? Okay, here's the thing. Does it take more mice or bees to take you down?
Oh, mice. No doubt.
I think so too. Easily.
Because at a certain point, even if
bee
you're not
stings will just kill
allergic
you.
to bees, at some point the amount of I don't know, is it toxin, inflammation, whatever? I would assume would begin to impact your system.
It would just kill you eventually. Like
Right?
eventually, I mean, even getting stabbed with that many needles all at once, regardless of
Right.
whether or not they're bee stings. Yeah.
Like I would imagine your body after being stung by, I don't know, 50 bees starts to be like, what is going on?
Yeah. I don't know.
So it's got to be more mice.
Yeah.
But
easily.
I think the question is always how organized are they?
That is the question.
Do they know they're trying to take you down, and are they all biting you? Because that would
when having theoretical debates of how many miniature animals can attack you or kill you, you have to always take into consideration how coordinated are they.
Yeah.
Is this a coordinated, concerted attack to take you down, or are they just kind of hanging out? And if that's the case, it's going to take quite a few because generally speaking, probably, only 1% of them realize that their goal is to take you down.
Right.
And if that's the case, I could take on 1 million mice who aren't trying to fight me. I think that's actually
going to find 1 million mice, but okay.
I think that's what the book of Mice and Men was about.
Nice.
How many people
nice.
can take people? How many mice would it take to take down a person? Do you have any other ones? Because I got one more fascinating thing.
Let's hear it.
Do you have any other ones, or is this it? Is this wrapping it up? All right. So check this out. I didn't know this was a thing, and I'm unfortunately very, very sad that it's going away without me having participated in it. Maine, the state of Maine, has started removing naughty words from license plates. So people were driving around in Maine with F-bombs just on their, F-U-C-K on their license plate. And now they
they could just have anything they wanted on there?
That's the funny second part of the story. But yes, the Maine government is now sending letters out saying that people need to they need to take down their obscenity-laced license plates given the new rules. The state has begun issuing recall letters this month with a handful each day. They say that it'll take a couple months to complete the process of censoring people's license plates.
Well, how much do you think the state of Maine is paying to have all this removed? Because the amount of man hours to go through every license plate, because this is clearly like an actual human has to do this, right? Like computer can go through and figure this out. So it's
I'm sure there's some that slip by. I'm sure there's some that slip by things too, because there's like letters involved, and if you're not saying it correctly, then you just don't. I don't know. There was one. This might have been Pennsylvania, but like somebody in the DMV, and I don't agree with this, by the way. This lady was brilliant. This is a mom of kids with a van, and her license plate was P, the letter P, the letter B, the number 4, WEGO. It was P before we go, which is just the most mom thing to say. But some stupid government DMV employee was like, "That's inappropriate. We can't have that sort of crap."
That's clearly no fun.
Clearly they were not in Maine. How did this come to place, you might ask? How is it that you could just have the F-bomb astride your license plate in the state of Maine? Well, this is what happened. It started when state lawmakers all but eliminated the review process in 2015 for making creative vanity license plates. So basically, they were trying to eliminate the process of the review. And when people figured out that, hey, they stopped funding, they defunded the review process for license plates, when people figured that out, people were like, I'm just going to go ahead and see what I can get away with. And then I would imagine that's when it really just took off. Maine's laissez-faire approach allowed what considered to be the wild, wild west, in which motorists ordered vanity license plates with blushing references to sexual acts or genitalia. One notorious license plate used a profanity that starts with the letter F followed by the word U. Can you imagine that being your license plate? I'm gonna Google that right now. Hold on. I don't know if I'm gonna actually.
This can't be real. This cannot be real. This is what I just love. Like, this is one of those things where everybody's angry all the time, and like our world has become just so tense and frustrating, I think, for a lot of people. But when you really break it down, when you really remove like rules from society, we all go back to being about 14.
I saw a bumper sticker that I'm going to put on t-shirts, and it just said, "But did anyone die?" And if the answer is no, then it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's mostly always no. Nobody actually died. Everyone's fine. Everything's okay. I'm not going to bring up this profane driver.
I'll bring it up.
But I'll bring up this one. This one's kind of funny. Let me make sure dude, I wish that like Google, there was a way that I could just pull it up in the same tab as opposed to here we go. Here's this. Yeah, Maine, good old Maine.
It's funny because there's the little like, is that a pine cone on the side?
Yeah.
So if you kind of look at it funny, it almost looks like it says Christmas too.
Oh yeah,
and that kind of reminds you of like a Christmas decoration.
Yeah, I can see that. Lovely, quaint state of Maine with vulgar obscenities on their license plates.
I love it. I love it.
Anything else you want to touch on this week? Any fun, I don't know, crazy fun stories? That was pretty much. I'm trying to think if there was anything that I like did on any of the political stuff that was funny. But I can't. I don't know. I don't think I can think of anything off the top of my head.
I'm sure there'll be lots more next week.
Yep, always is. All right. Well,
I guess we'll try to do better on the next one.
Yep.